That statement is rather oxymoronic.
Well, yeah on its own, but it'll make sense when I explain.
Then go right ahead.
A few years back, I designed a MOC of Samus Aran's helmet, which is still one of my favorite MOCs to date. Fast forward to who knows when, and I decided for whatever reason that I wanted to pair it with a Dark Samus helmet.
For clarification, we are talking about the villain from Metroid Prime 2 and 3, and not the Dark Suit upgrade from Prime 2.
Correct. On the surface, it looked like a simple retool. Just narrow the visor, remove the air hoses, give it a new coat of paint, and we're good. However, early prototypes revealed that the forehead was a little too tall when compared to the genuine article. This is because for my Samus helmet, I more or less copied the official Star Wars helmet sets when they first came out, and since I didn't really know what I was doing, I didn't do much in the way of tailoring.
So what did you have to do?
Fortunately, just shave a stud's worth off, but that still required jumping through a hoop or two.
Perhaps a visual aid is in order?
Good idea. There are two types of measurements we'll be using, studs and plates. For reference, 2 studs equals 5 plates. Well, technically 4 plates in a tile, but that's irrelevant for now. Now the old forehead height was 4 studs tall, or 10 plates, which perfectly allows for capping it off at the top. But with the new forehead being 3 studs high, that equals 7.5 plates, which obviously leaves half a plate gap. In order to remove this, we'll use one of these fancy brackets which is a plate and a stud tall.
But the studs are now facing sideways. Is that not an issue?
Not once we add a brick with studs on the side so we can keep building up, which allows us to finally reach 7.5 plates. We do have to fuss a bit to actually get the thing centered though.
So that is the first obstacle done. What is next?
Well, modifying the forehead also messed with the rest of the proportions, meaning I had to reevaluate the side modules as well as the back of the helmet. For the side modules, instead of keeping them on a single plane, I stepped them down to give the illusion of it curving towards the back. The rear section was completely redesigned, as Dark Samus's helmet doesn't have any vents.
So much for a simple retool.
Tell me about it. But the only thing left is the visor. Fortunately, medium azure works just fine instead of a transparent blue, which means we don't have to deal with dual layering like on the Samus helmet, which would have been just about impossible to get working for the center segment. As for the rest, we have to deal with yet again 1.5 million 1x1 30-degree slopes on top of each other. But this time I'm employing a new technique to clean up the internals a bit, that being this 1x2 brick with bars in the center.
And how will it help?
By combining it with a 1x1 plate with a vertical clip, it becomes a simple and sturdy stud inverter, which we need a lot of going on. However, due to the slopes being 30 degrees and not 45, for most of the build we'll just be clipping them onto various lengths of bars and sliding them into position, so they won't strain each other.
That sounds fragile.
A little, but I've done what I can to reinforce the mounting points.
Of course.
And that pretty much does it. Overall, it's a rather plain build, given the almost monochromatic color scheme and lack of air hoses, but it gets the job done.
I imagine it looks better when paired with Samus's helmet.
It does, but that brings up another issue.
Which is?
During the design process, I was also refining Samus's helmet as well, and it looks much, much better, but that just makes me want to try submitting it to LEGO Ideas again. However, the chin is still a fragile point of the build, and I'd like to fix that before doing so. But I'm not sure it can even be done, so I'm just leaving it in the archive for now.
That does not bode well with you trying to eliminate your backlog.
No, it doesn't. Maybe I'll forget about LEGO Ideas and just upload the new version, but I'd kinda like to work on some other LEGO stuff first.
I guess we will just have to wait and see what happens.
In the meantime, you can find the image gallery and instructions for Dark Samus's helmet in the description. But that's it for this video.
Thanks for stopping by.
Have a good one.